That's everything.
Bumping and banging.
Big Boy's Neighborhood. All righty, man. Friend of the neighborhood.
Yes.
Larenz Tate up in here. How you doing, my brother?
I'm good.
Swing the camera over to me right quick, because if you keep it on him too long, they're going to think this is an old interview. You know what I'm saying? From 97. Like, this dude looked the same from when he first said, hey, I'm Larenz. I was like, hey, how you doing, brother? You know what I'm saying? What, you in third grade? Larenz, let me tell you, Larenz Tate is up in here. Larenz, you stay working.
Yeah, bro.
I heard that, man.
I have to.
Yeah. There's like electricity and phone bills, and then the kids want to eat.
They want to eat.
Yeah, and sometimes they want to eat every day.
I was thinking about letting them starve.
Yeah, but you know, we can't do that either.
I can't do that.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I got a little love for the kids. You know what I'm saying? At home.
How many kids you have, Larenz?
I have 3.
Right, and they're all boys.
All boys.
Okay.
9, 8, and 2.
I heard that. That's you call that the throne.
That's the throne.
I heard that.
Yeah.
a lot
So
of
the
boys.
3 is serious. Every now and again, like I said, I consider letting them starve, but
Right.
you know,
But then
I can't get away with that.
And then sometimes they want to eat. Then sometimes they want to eat multiple times a day.
Multiple times
You
a
know
day.
what I'm saying?
I'm like, y'all eat more than once in a day?
like, you guys are crazy. Wow. So therefore, Daddy got to work.
I got to get out of here.
Now we got to
and
talk
work.
about the new show, man.
Yes.
And NBC ain't playing with these promos and how they just released it as well.
Yeah, they showing love.
Man, NBC you landed on, bro.
Yes, I had to because the kids
Yes.
like to eat.
Now, what is Game of Silence?
Okay, Game of Silence is a 1-hour drama that's about a group of childhood friends who had a traumatic experience in a youth detention center. I mean, some really crazy stuff went down. And they got out and kept a secret for a long time. 25 years later, they band together and tried to right the wrongs of that past. You know, they've been coping with it for a long time, and there are some people that they want to get back at. You know, there's some revenge and some justice, and the way that some of us want to handle it, you know, it could be in some illegal issues, and
like, especially when you're holding on to something.
when
like,
you're
man,
holding on to something,
and we were young,
and
and now we're grown ass men. Somebody got to pay for this.
it's some payback.
What's
It's
your
revenge.
character,
My
Larenz?
character is Sean Cook, and Sean
Did
is.
you have to audition for this?
Ooh.
Keep it real with me, Larenz.
I'ma keep it
because
100.
Hollywood doesn't call me at all, so it's not like you taking my parts. They don't call me anymore.
No, I didn't have to audition for this.
Really?
No.
So they just knew they wanted Larenz Tate.
From my understanding, yeah.
Right.
You know, NBC. I've been trying to work with them for a while. There were
Same
a few shows that came my way, and this one seemed like the best one. And I was like, let me meet with the team. You know, the executive producers and are people from CSI. Yeah, Carol Mendelsohn, and then you got David Hudgens, who's from Friday Night Lights and Parenthood, and I got a chance to sit down with a big group of people, and we talked about the show. I was explaining to him, I love the dynamic that the show reflects friendship and loyalty, betrayal. I love that corruption aspect of it, and I told him, I said, "Yo, this feels like a little movie,
Right.
or something that's on cable." And it was like, You got the
it.
job.
Damn, I wish I would have said the same thing when I went to the audition. And your character, once again,
He's Sean, and he's the one who's the center of the friends. He's the guy that keeps everybody together.
So let me ask you this, Larenz. All righty, because I missed like the quick premiere that they did on the Tuesday night, but we're every Thursday night, correct?
Every Thursday night.
All right.
10
now,
p.m.
are
9
you in
Central.
every episode? So you're in this show.
Yeah.
Okay, I saw you in the trailer too. I'm not trying to hate. I'm
Yeah,
just, you know. All right, so
Every episode,
you're like the
I'm the guy that keeps everybody together. You got one of our friends who's a lawyer. He wants to do everything by the book. Let's just stick to the law. If we're gonna make a case, let's do something. You have another friend who's like, man, I forget the law. Let's just take matters in our own hand. And then I'm like, the guy that's saying whatever we do, it has to get done. Let's do a little bit of the law and a lot of stuff in our own hands, because it's an emotional feeling that they have. They're going on emotion, but what audience will be able to see is that there are flashbacks, moments throughout the series. So you will see the kids actually going through stuff at this youth detention center and experience these heavy things. And so you're like, wow. As adults, you understand why.
what that emotion is.
It's been there's a lot of shame. There's a lot of they've harbored this burden for a long time, and there's a lot of frustration, confusion, but what's kept them together or their sanity is their relationship. Friends, man.
Hey, brother,
friends are people.
You
are,
explained that very well.
well, thank you.
Like you must have read the script.
I read the
something
script.
like
I sat with the writers. I
Go
sat
ahead
with them,
now.
and we talked about it. And I connected with, because I have two brothers myself, and unity is important in my
Right,
family. My
right.
mother and father was always like unity. They fed us. My mom and daddy did feed
Yeah,
us.
that's why you feeding your
That's why I'm
sons
feeding
now.
my kids. I'm so
Obligations.
happy that my mother and father
And you had
fed.
somebody to look at, like, okay,
And,
well,
okay,
they,
if they-
I don't
if I ate
want
three
to
times-
break this.
I don't wanna break
And then
this.
25 years
Like-
down the line, your kids coming looking for you. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Trying to settle up with their game of
They
silence.
want to do that. So
Just-
so we broke that
I heard
that
that.
chain, and so again, I related to the show itself, man, and I just love the idea that you can peel back the layers. There's a bit of a slow burn with the characters, and you see this nucleus that they have, and it's really a lot of strength there. But I like the balance of the relationships and the love. You got some justice and some some real cool nuances in the story, and it feels like one of those cable
Where
shows.
do y'all shoot at?
We filmed it down in Atlanta.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but
that's why you in Atlanta.
That's why I'm
That's why
ATL.
you didn't want to tell me. All right. Well, Larenz, now I gotta kind of ask you this, bro. We've grown up with Larenz. You know what I'm saying? Like, we've seen you. You're supposed to age, but you're not for some reason. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I think
secret.
Benjamin Button, somebody owe you a check, because I'm thinking that was a documentary. You know what I'm saying? They just didn't put yours out, or got to be a biopic. You know what I'm saying? Now let me ask you this, man. Is there any one character that continues to come back, or do you get kind of all of, like, dead presidents? Do you get Old Dog? Do you get Love Jones? Do you?
Oh, dog.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, I knew she
What
was
do you
saying.
think? What do you
Dog.
think? What do you think? Dog?
I love old dog.
Dog.
Yeah.
She loves it. What about do you know any of the movies I've done?
Right.
I'm just saying.
Oh, wow.
She's like, I just wanna make
Yes,
sure.
no,
I don't want to assume.
No, not at all. Like I remember being really young and watching Dead Presidents and
wow.
like not fully understanding it, but still knowing that was such a big film,
was
especially
dope
around
as
me
hell.
and my
Yeah.
friends, and knowing I was probably too young to watch
What
it.
do you get?
I get a combination of it. I get Love Jones, Darius Love Hall, because the women love that.
You know what I love about that? People will continue to ask you, "Are y'all doing Love Jones?"
Man, that's something, and I'm glad you brought that up because
Man, and the
because-
crazy thing about it, I don't mean to cut you off,
Yeah,
but
no.
you could walk right back into that, and people be like, "It's believable."
it's believable.
Yeah, no.
because it was such a cool story, and people want to see something that reminds them of the good times. And with those characters in that world, there wasn't a whole lot of dysfunction like we see now in relationships and crazy stuff
Right.
that you see on social media and
People like,
the
"Man,
things that
love,
like
that's what
love.
they used to
that's,
do?"
that's what they used to do. Whereas this just felt organic and it felt real, and it was honest, and it was nice to be able to see how these people related to each other in Love Jones and to see where they are and how they sort of stood the test of time in their relationship would be kind of nice to see,
Yeah.
given
Would
where
you
we are.
do it? The right thing come along and everything aligns itself?
Yeah.
Are they talking already?
We've been.
How can we ask for this and nobody
See,
say,
this-
"Man, let's do this"?
Okay, so it has to make sense. The script has to be right.
Right,
and,
right,
and,
right.
And the direction of it has to
Yeah,
be right.
because you'll be messing with a legacy
Right,
too, though.
right. So we want to make sure that, but also, it's important for it to make sense for the studio and its business. And I believe that we can align those planets. I feel like we can get a script that's right. I feel like, it will do an incredible amount of business at the box office because people like yourself, you all, who are talking about it in the culture, in the people, in the community.
And you got to hear it all the time.
I hear it. And Nia Long and I talk about, she hears it. No matter what
All the
movie or
time.
project that we do, we always hear this.
Yeah, and
and
it's
I'm
gotta
like,
be done right.
I'm like, yo, I don't want to go through another, 10, 15, 20 years asking, yo, man, when y'all gonna do this movie?
Right, yeah.
I feel like it's important for us to do it. The movie has been done for some time, but I feel like if we can just bring it and sort of make it fresh and interesting, I think it will do an incredible amount of business. But I think the audiences will accept it
Yeah, man.
on another
They
level.
keep asking for it.
They
And,
keep
and all of us
asking
that keep asking, when they put it out, go see it too.
Yeah, 100%.
Don't be waiting for it and mess up the box office.
No, no.
Like we want it, but we gonna steal it. You
No,
know what I'm saying?
no.
Now let me ask you this, man. Now, Old Dog, of course. I mean, Menace to Society. And I want you to rewind yourself on this.
Okay.
Have you ever had a problem with somebody that didn't know how to separate Old Dog and Larenz Tate?
Fortunately, no.
Ah,
Blessing.
man, yeah, it is. Because I had cats that wanted to touch you.
Right,
Back in the days. You know what I'm saying? I said, hey, man. I said, I think he acting, man.
right.
Like, nah, man. I think that's the dude that really got homie on such as. And I was like, no, I think he from like Chicago or something, man. But you never had an incident.
No, fortunately, man.
You ever dressed up as Old Dog for Halloween?
No, sir.
And you won't
Oh,
none?
you should.
Nah, I mean, if I'm gonna do it, we're gonna suit up to do a part 2, something like that. You know what I'm saying? Old-Dog gets out of jail or something like that.
Let's do the Love Jones.
Let's do the
before
Love
we
Jones.
that.
No.
Yeah.
Love
Before we
Jones
do
is where it's at.
Old
Love
Dog gets out of jail. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah.
No, I don't think it's necessary for me to dress up as those characters.
You never dressed up as like dead presidents?
No, because so many
And
other
walk
people
out?
are doing it
I know,
for
but
me.
that's why you can get away with it.
Yeah, so many
Because
people doing
dead
it.
presidents is a given.
Listen.
Every
Yeah.
year somebody's going to dress up as
Oh, yeah.
Now that I'm doing the social media thing now, I post pictures of people's dead presidents during
Right.
their costumes, and it's some good ones.
Yeah,
Can I tell you?
But you can
hold on,
dress
real-
up like that and people wouldn't even know it was you.
They would know me. But
Yeah.
here's the thing that get a little strange is when the kids. They got the 2-year-old
Yeah.
with the gun and the pistols, and I'm like, whoa, hey, don't post that.
Like,
no,
what the hell did y'all do? It ain't my fault. These your kids.
I know. What
I
were you
went
saying?
to a Halloween party
Right.
where there is a kid that I went to high school with, dressed up as dead presidents. I'm not gonna. He got a little drunk at this high school party.
Of
tried
course.
to make out with me, and I kept like dodging the kisses, like because we were friends, and I didn't really want to make out with him. Went into the house later, and someone was like, "You making out with Omar?" And I was
Right.
like, "No, what did he?" She was like, "It's all the
Yeah,
makeup went
makeup all
all
over you.
Yeah.
But y'all
now
had-
you see how guys deal when they got to go home and like females put all the makeup on and you.
Yeah, man.
That's what happens.
Yeah.
That's what happens. Now you had it.
Like, is that
did.
glitter on you? What the hell is going on here? Now, Kobe just retired, man.
Yes.
And you're not really a Laker fan.
Okay. Right.
Who's your
right.
team?
My team is the Chicago Bulls.
I heard
we
that.
stunk it up this year. It is what it is. We stunk it up. But I gotta say, watching Kobe play his final game
Right.
was incredible, man. I mean, I had my children, I had my 3 boys watching. We were on the edge of our seats. This was the first time that I can actually say that I was going crazy rooting for the Lakers.
right.
And rooting for Kobe and for the fans and the people. He spent 20 years day in and day out, hands down, one of the greatest players of all time to touch the basketball court is Kobe Bryant. And my boys and I were on the edge of our seats because we wanted him to come out there and perform. It couldn't have been written better in
Yeah,
a movie
man.
or a script, a TV. It was like real, and that's why we love watching, the game.
If it was written as a script, at the end, people would have been like, man, then it got fake at the end.
It
He
got
came
fake.
out,
Exactly.
Right.
And
It
then
wa-
they
it-
won, and he
it's-
got like 60
Yeah,
points.
it
you
just
know?
seems so surreal. But to be able to see that and experience that, it was amazing. He, like I said, one of the best players of all time.
Go ahead. Now, do you still make it to like Chicago Bull games?
Yeah.
Right. Do they charge y'all to get in there? Or?
Ah,
You know
there
what
you
I'm
go.
saying? No, I'm not
There
just saying
you
because
go.
I don't go to. I haven't been to a Chicago Bulls game.
No, they show me love.
All right, now who's on the Bulls right now?
as of now?
Yeah.
We Derrick Rose, Jimmy
Yeah.
Butler,
Okay.
Paul Gasol.
Nipsey Hussle. All of them. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Were you,
Hey, man,
were you
I'm gonna
bummed
tell
that
you
the
straight
record
up. I
got
was
broke?
I was at the Laker game and I was like, man, who's this?
Right.
It was-
I don't know
it was-
who's on the Lakers.
Yeah,
outside
it was quite a
of-
few
yeah.
that I was like,
Yeah.
Who
Yeah.
are you?
hey man, I
Yeah.
think I went to school with this dude. And this dude
ballin'.
don't play no ball.
Get a
Like, go ahead,
contract.
Eddie.
The Warriors broke the Bulls record, though. Were you bummed about that?
Yeah, he was. Look at him.
But,
He didn't wanna do the interview today.
I don't want to. No, records are meant to be broken, and they are playing great, and they deserve it. But I feel like people compare them to what the Bulls were or the Lakers were, and I'm like, they're not there. They're
It's
not.
too soon.
It's too soon because
Yeah.
they're. I love Steph and the entire Golden State Warriors team. I love them, but they haven't played against the likes of the Detroit
Right.
Pistons, where you had Isaiah
Bad
and Joe
boys.
Dumars
Right.
and the Boston Celtics with
With all of
with
them
Bird
ugly,
and
the
McHale
McHale,
and
man.
they didn't have the Dennis Rodmans and they didn't have the Lakers of back then. That's the
Right.
difference. Like you,
It was
like,
when
and the
and
Knicks.
starting
Hold up.
fives used to be starting fives.
Yeah,
like,
and like
Yeah,
real
bro.
starting fight. Like you go like against the New York Knicks back in the days when you had some serious hard nosed players. They was not going for that. Like they got some great strong players on the Golden State Warriors, but not like back in the day. Like the whole bench back in those days was just like Charles Oakley, and you dealing with some Anthony Mason, God rest his soul. I mean, you can't go up against those kinds of guys today and have that kind of season. I
Did
just
you
don't
play
believe
sports?
so. I played basketball, but recreationally because I was always in the business, so I can never make basketball practices and
How old
tournaments.
were you when you started acting, Larenz?
I was 10.
Really?
Wow.
I came from Chicago. I was 10 years old.
And you started booking work since then?
Yeah, well, little stuff.
Do you use the same promo picture?
I do.
Yeah, 'cause I would think you.
Wait, really?
That's the key.
I would
That's
think
that
you
keeps
would
that
just
keeps you working.
Photoshop a little beard
Yeah,
in
that's
it.
all I do. Yeah, keep
man.
the same pictures. Like this dude never ages.
Yeah.
So I use my 10-year-old headshot.
Just order a couple more of those.
Yeah,
We good.
yeah.
So at 10 you started booking work.
Like little stuff, like
Right, yeah.
one-liners here or little commercials.
Have you ever had like a so-called other job out of the entertainment business?
No, not necessarily. Stuff that I don't want to talk about. You know what I'm
You
saying?
didn't dance or nothing, right?
Yeah, what's up?
I wasn't a shake dancer. I wasn't
Okay.
doing none of that.
Okay,
no,
just checking,
no,
'cause you
no.
didn't want to talk about
No,
it.
no,
I
no.
thought it was something embarrassing.
No, man. I
But it was never no.
No.
I guess it wouldn't have been Starbucks. You've been making money before.
Yeah.
Everybody started working at Starbucks. No job at Mickey D's. Nothing.
no summer jobs or anything. I was always sort of.
Did you graduate from public school?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
But I also had a tutor going through high school, which I was very happy to have. But at the same time, I was accepted to UCLA. I was going to go to UCLA.
Oh wow.
My school grades was right. My father's been in the education field for a long time. My brother's an alumni from UCLA. My other brother, they everybody went to school and like had some sort of collegiate experience from my mother, my father's, my brothers. And I was going to go. I was teetering between SC and UCLA.
Wow.
And UCLA was the way I was going to go, and I was going to do theater. But at that time, I was
Working?
I just booked, Menace to Society. I did
Damn.
the Inkwell and all that stuff. And I said, I'll get back. And the crazy thing is, I was going to go for
You
theater.
ain't stopped since though.
No. I was going to go for theater. And I'm an advocate about learning. So, one thing about me, I always I got to keep up with this. So I, was just like an avid book reader. I wanted to read books. I never wanted to be in a scenario and, didn't know about certain things, reading autobiographies and learning more about what I wanted to do in the industry. So I would spend time with directors and producers and writers. And eventually that's what I started doing along with my brothers, because my brother went to school for, theater and writing and all that stuff. And I was able to do that on my feet as an actor.
Right,
So,
right.
see, even the professors was like, telling my brother, like, hey, he's
what is he
already
doing here?
doing it. And if he wants to come back, that's
Be like,
great.
Can
But
I
he's
slide
doing
you my resume, man? You know what I'm
Hook it
saying?
up.
Like,
Yeah,
man.
Right.
We got Larenz
For
Tate
real,
here.
bro.
Come on up here and speak to the class. I'm
Right.
gonna sit down.
100%.
Because I ain't booked a job since Sanford and Son.
Besides your fame, since booking Menace to Society, which was 1993, throughout those years, what have you seen change within the industry, culturally and just professionally as well?
That's a good question. There's been
I should have asked that.
it's been a combination of things. You've seen, I've seen fewer movies being made these days when it comes to like dramas, thrillers. They're more or less going to big action movies and
Yeah.
animations, and that's great. There's a great deal of technology, all things that I love. I've seen less diversity, and I guess that's been kind of consistent in the boardrooms, I guess, like in Hollywood. I wish there would be a little bit more diversity because the country and the world that we live in is very diverse.
Yeah, man.
And if you're outside looking in, based off of what you see in movies, you don't know how diverse this country is.
Mhm.
So I just wish that kind of changed, and it's changing a little bit more.
Are the roles getting smaller, like the opportunities?
In movies,
yeah.
it has been, but the things are.
Does it seem like television's making a comeback?
TV
Lorenz?
is a lot stronger, and that's what I've seen. I've seen an incredible growth in diversity, in better
Right.
storytelling, in television now. I mean, the TV, some of the programming is just great, and then
Yeah.
there's a bunch of different platforms. There's so many.
Yeah, man.
Outside of public broadcasting or prime time, you got these premium networks, and then you have stuff that's streaming online. You have different, like with regards to the internet. Like back in the days, you would only hear us on Big Boy,
Right.
but now you can see us and you can see what's going on. And you
Right.
can see the interaction, and that speaks volume. And so I've been seeing a great deal of growth there, and people now can have the technology to sort of tell their own stories and sort of have garner some sort of attention or some notoriety.
Do you feel like the lane is getting blocked a lot because now everybody's shooting their own thing, or everybody got a production company, everybody got a camera now? And
I think with that it is a lot.
do you get people that come up to you like, "Man, I need you in this thing,
Oh
man"?
yeah,
Like,
oh yeah. People do that, and I tell them, for certain things, sometimes you don't really need me for that because there's an audience for what you're doing. You don't need a big name these days to do small content that can actually speak volume.
Why do you tell them that as opposed to just saying no? Because that sound like you just turning them down, but
Sounds
it's
like
extremely
great
nice. Man, you don't need me.
No, you don't. You don't need me.
Yeah, what are you talking about, man? We give you the back end. Ain't gonna be no back end.
Ain't gonna be no back end.
Because I ain't doing it.
I mean, they understand because
Right.
I'm telling them the truth. You don't
Right.
need me,
Right.
and so and it's and some of the stuff doesn't pique my interest. So
Mhm.
we're good, and I always encourage people to do this. Write your own stories, and then you have the technology to be able to shoot it and upload it and do what you want to do. So there's been a lot that I've seen since then. There's been some great stuff. Like I said, there still needs to be more diversity, and that we got to continue to encourage people to tell stories and shoot these films and shoot TV shows. I think that a lot of the reality shows have made a dent in the quality of what we can do as artists, because the reality shows, use them for whatever you want. I don't knock them. There's some that are cool, and some of them like I'm just not interested at all. But I feel like when it comes to the content to be written, produced, and directed, and with actors and actresses, there's few of that because there's so many reality shows that are getting the attention.
Yeah. The green light is fast on
Oh
those
yeah,
boys.
yeah. If you can keep, if you can keep the people on those shows and those personalities big and loud,
Yeah.
and that's gonna garner attention, and people seem to watch.
Larenz, did you or any of your castmates get a chance to visit any of the youth facilities in preparation for Game of Silence?
No, not while we were there as a cast, but I know everybody's sort of done their own little research and kind of spent time. I actually work with at-risk youth. I hate to use that word, but children who have had a brush with the law and youth detention centers. I've actually spent some time in Atlanta at some group homes. My good buddy Ludacris has a foundation, and he's just the coolest brother because there are times that he'll be like, "Yo, where you at?" I'm like, "Yo, I'm off set." He was like, "Yo, we're gonna roll by this youth detention center, or we'll go by a group home, but we can't post stuff like let's not, because that's
Right.
to protect their
In the
their
water down the
privacy.
reason why you're really going too.
You know what I'm saying?
We
Yeah.
gotta go pick up some shots.
Yeah,
man.
no, and that's
Send these out.
and sometimes you see people doing that, but we were able to do that often, and the young men and some of the young ladies that were there too. I mean, they were just it meant so much for us to take some time with them, and we did it several times while I was there. I was out there for 6 months, and every now and again, Crystal just like, "Yo, man, let's just pull up to him, man, and just talk to him." And one thing that I get out of spending time with the youth is sometimes we talk, but it's great to listen to them.
Yeah, man.
When you can just listen to them and hear their stories, man, it's incredible. It literally is mind blowing. And they're special. And sometimes they get a hiccup in the road of life,
man.
and sometimes it's hard for them to get back on the track. But just listening to them sometimes, as opposed to always just talking and talking
Right.
at them, as adults, if we can just listen, we can learn something.
Let me ask you. Now you were in Atlanta for 6 months,
Correct.
average, shooting Game of Silence.
Yes.
When you're out there,
Uh-huh.
all right, do you get like a per diem or any spending cash? Do they put you in your, like a hotel or an apartment?
No, that's
Is it
that's
all
your-
on you?
That's all on you. That's why they
Really?
give you a hot check every
Okay,
week.
yeah, so you do get
they
paid
say that
for the show.
Yeah,
Okay.
you get paid for the show. They take care of you enough for you to be a local there. Now, what happens is when you're doing a movie, you're there for a short period of time, right? A movie, you're there for a month and a half or 2 months. You have to, they have to give you a per diem. They put you up. But once you
Like if you're
sign
there
on
6 months. then-
6 months, yeah. But they give you enough money, so they say, here's a move fee, and get
Now,
yourself
do you
set up.
rent furniture or do you buy? Like you're going to only be there. Do you
Oh,
go to a
yeah.
place where all the furniture is already there?
Furnished?
Well, when I've done other shows and other places, yeah, I would rent everything. I go to a place and I would say, hey, I want to get the newest stuff that y'all got. in
Right,
here.
right, 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 right.
You know what I'm
yeah.
saying? I don't want, what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
can y'all tear the plastic off of some of this stuff?
I want to pick the plastic off, and sometimes I will, I'll just go and buy a bunch of things. I buy all fresh linen, make sure that the towels
Nice.
are all fresh and new, and then I get rid
So
of it.
now, but when you want to travel back home, that's all on you. Like
Yeah.
when you want to come see the kids.
Yeah, when I
and-
travel back home, it's all on me. And I come home every week.
man.
Yeah, I was just telling a friend, like, every week when I would come and see my children and the wife, it's all on me. I just dip out on the weekends, and it was great because once I'm done on a Friday, if I'm not working Friday night, I'm out. Sometimes I have to leave as early as the earliest flight they can get to get me into LA so I can make it to my son's games.
Right,
on
yeah,
Saturdays.
yeah.
And I'll spend Saturday and Sunday afternoon. I'm back on a flight back
Wow.
to Atlanta, and then I have days off. I go see the fam, or they'll come to Atlanta, and that's how we do it because the presence of me being there is important to my boys, and they help me out because I miss them so.
Right. But you've been doing this pretty much their whole life.
Correct.
But it's still got to be extremely hard.
Yes, it is.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, there's no trophies for this.
Right, right. Because
That's
my
right.
wife is always like, baby, you can't book a job out of state. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's like, why you here every day?
Every day.
Like,
On the
man,
weekends?
like, yeah. Like, none of your other stations want you to fly out and say hello?
man.
Right. No, I got the opposite. They like, can you stay home? But I'm like,
Yeah.
nah, I got.
My wife was like, ain't no work in Atlanta for you?
There's when you just choose not to.
Yeah.
People want you to come everywhere, bruh. They want you all over, but
No,
you
I'm talking about
choose-
me.
I'm you. That's what
Oh,
I'm saying.
okay.
You choose not to go.
Oh, really though?
Yeah.
You need to fast forward or pass that over to me, man. Really, because I don't know. Like,
I already know.
Do you get recognized everywhere you go?
I try to keep a low profile.
Because I never see you with like no big ass security, or I
No,
never see
no.
you with that.
TMZ.
No.
Yeah, how do you stay scandal free with all the stuff we've done?
Uh,
You know what I'm saying? Like,
We won't talk about it. We won't talk
yeah,
about it.
We got our own game of silence.
we got
Jack.
our own game of silence. No, I understand there's a lot of pitfalls, and I'm not perfect. You know what I mean? I'm not perfect, and I just have always tried to just stay away from any of the pitfalls.
Yeah,
and
the craziness.
the obvious negative stuff, man. Just don't get caught up in there. As much as things are presented and around you, man. I'm like, yeah, man, that's bad. That's bad news.
Do you
right
feel
there.
like you made it through most of the temptation as far as like,
Yeah.
because at
Most
one
of it,
point it
yes.
had to be, you young,
Correct.
stuff is crazy, the career has always been popping, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's
I've made it through most of it.
like
Some of
now
it,
it'd just be dumb shit.
yeah, it would
if
be
you
just
did
dumb.
something now.
right. And
Yeah.
I've made it through most of it. Some of it I didn't.
Mhm.
But right now, everyone is looking for that one thing, and I'm like, I'm not, perfect. Yeah, I'm seeing what's popping on Instagram. There's some things on Instagram, but
Right.
I'm smart enough not to be liking a bunch of stuff.
Yeah,
now
be
my
all in
wife,
the
my wife
DM.
don't. Yeah, my wife don't be. She don't get caught up in that. We were just talking about how the social media has destroyed so many relationships.
Yeah.
I'm like, babe, if me liking, the girl with the thick legs and the ass and all that, if that's gonna cause a real rift,
Right.
we ain't
Then you
built
set
the
up-
way I thought we was built.
That's
on
what
some
I'm
real
saying,
stuff.
man. Real walkie-talkie.
Yeah,
I told my wife, I said,
come
well, I'm
on,
just
man.
gonna set up another account.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Because
That's
I'm
what I told
lurking
her.
anyway.
I'm like,
I'm lurking.
I said,
Now
well, there it
sliding
is right
DMs.
there. I'm clever 1, 2, 3 now.
Right,
That's
right.
all
You know?
And so we don't get caught up in all that. I
Right.
feel like it's so many other people that would get
Right.
that get all. Why would your wife let you? Because we built differently.
Yeah, man.
How are you going to prepare your sons though for
I
this,
don't
this
know.
world?
Yeah,
Oh
man.
my, that's what we talk about.
What's in 5 or what's not even
Yeah.
5 years? What's in 3
Oh
years?
my gosh,
5 years, 10 years.
I don't know, and I just want to let them know. Just stay safe. That's why my wife and I, we keep our kids out of it. We keep our children away from it, and I appreciate people respecting that privacy because they're all that we have that is private. Everything else, I'm fair game. I get it. So there's gonna be highs and lows. I don't know if there's some whatever might come up that people's Larenz was doing this or Larenz. I'm like, listen, I'm human as well, and I just want to make sure that my children just have some sort of normality in their lives.
Hey, Larenz, have you ever been out of work where it got
Yes,
tough, like or
yes.
crazy, where you're
Yes.
like, man, I'm not.
Absolutely. And I tell people that, on some real stuff, I know what really goes on with entertainers, and it's serious. And there have been times that it was really rough for me. And I'm thinking to myself, wow, how am I going to make ends meet? How am I going to make sure that I'm, taking care of myself and taking care of people who rely on me, right? And, it keeps a hustle. Because I'm like, I'm going to do this. People for a long time was like, well, where you at? Where you been? I'm like, I've been doing television because television is good to me. It's been great because I also factor in audiences with my decisions of the roles that I choose because the audiences have made projects of mine classics. So when I choose a role, I have to keep in mind, what would the audiences think about this? And that's not my totality in terms of my decision, but it's inclusive.
Right.
But I got to a place where I was like, I can't keep thinking of like this. There are going to be things that people that they may not like, but there's stuff that speak to me creatively, but there's stuff on a business end also that makes sense for me to do. And it's work. This is what I do. And as you said before, like, did you ever have any sort of vocational skills? Did you have
Like, this is
a
it.
9 to 5 to be able to do it? And at the end of the day, if I had to go, I got mouths to feed. I do whatever I need to do. You know what I'm saying? Within reason to take care of my family, but I can do that in this industry. You know what I mean? I can do that in what I'm capable of doing as an artist. And so there have been times that it was tough. It was tough. Yeah, I was like, but fortunately, through the grace of God, I didn't have to go knock on your door or any of my high-powered friends and say, hey, man, I need this. And I'm hoping that and praying that can continue to be.
Yeah, man.
And-
I hope it doesn't happen because I really
real.
don't want to be the one to turn you down. But I will.
Sorry,
you know what I'm
Larenz.
saying? Yeah.
It's all good.
Because I smooth on the answer the door. You know what I'm saying?
I know.
Larenz, definitely want to thank you for coming in and hanging out with us, brother.
I appreciate
So,
you.
no, it's a pleasure to see you, man.
Congratulations, man. You over here doing your thing, man.
Yeah,
You're
I am.
always, and you keep a job. Listen, one of these
Brother.
days, I'm going to come over to the house because I know where you live.
Go ahead. Man. Make sure you announce yourself first because
Right.
the owner is a shooter. You know what I'm saying?
No, man.
Yes.
No, it's all love. I won't come knocking at your door.
Thank you so much. I
for
appreciate
ham
Just
and
announce
cheese
yourself.
sandwich. Just announce myself.
just
But I
announce
appreciate
yourself.
you, brother.
Because
It's
I did
all
come
love.
out one day and you were in front of my house.
I was in front of your
Yeah,
house.
but you was going to the neighbors.
I was going to the neighbors.
I came out. He was like, "Hey," I was like, "What the? You go to the neighbor's house. All right, cool." I thought he was coming over here, honey. I'm sorry. I was,
No,
I was
it's all
trying
love.
to. Yeah, I smooth had somebody stop by the house a couple days ago. I did the silence on them. You know what I'm saying?
You
Ding
speaking.
dong,
You're speaking out the.
ding
I'm
dong.
not gonna do it, man.
Yeah, no.
I drop to the floor. I'm always like,
Yo,
Yeah.
drop to the floor.
I was like, I'm cool. I got that little ring system. I was like, nah.
Next thing, what I'm gonna do is, if you do, I'm just call your cell phone. I got your cell number.
Well,
so if
it's
I
on
hear,
vibrate. Yeah.
you're ahead of the
man.
game. This dude,
He was going
you
to
really
have
good.
his ear all to the door.
Like Big, I know you there.
I hear your phone.
Lorenz, love you, my brother.
I love
Thank
you
you for
too,
coming
brother.
up in
Appreciate
here,
y'all.
man. Don't forget, every Thursday night, Game of Silence, NBC. Make sure you guys check it out, man. It is Big Boy's
Big Boy.
Neighborhood.